Did you know that Elon Musk invested into a very, very small startup? And there are some really, really interesting things about it that we're gonna talk about today. And one of the things being is that even though they're not on the public markets, you can invest into them as well. But let's back up a little bit and talk about the company itself, because they actually have a pretty revolutionary product, and that is affordable tiny homes that can be delivered to you and unboxed in under an hour. And the company is called BoxABL. Unboxed, boxable, get it? The two, okay. But these $50,000 dwelling units come with everything that you need. Full-size kitchen, fridge, sink with a view, oven, dishwasher, microwave, cabinets, a bathroom with a deep shower tub, a vessel sink, large counter, backlit mirror, sliding glass barn door. The living space is 375 square feet, which is under the 400 square feet requirement for a lot of states that allow tiny homes. 9-foot 6-inch ceilings, 8-foot huge doors and windows, washer and dryer, heating and air, and is very, very well insulated, and all of that for $50,000.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
It's literally the perfect buy land, buy this house, and boom, you have yourself a house. Or better yet, buy a house, put this in your backyard, and rent it out to your friend or on Airbnb. Boom. Passive income. But what makes this so special to the point where Elon Musk himself bought one of their prototypes and lived in it himself? Well, the biggest thing for him is that he wanted to buy it and test it out as a dwelling unit for people on Mars, because it would be really hard for everyone to just own a giant home, but a tiny home is much more doable. Now, of course, you can't invest into a company that might create the housing on Mars, literally a different planet. But the thing about this company is that that's not their main priority. The company's main goal or priority is to provide affordable housing for anyone and everyone that wants one around the world. And that market is crazy big. Now look at the search volume. This is the search volume on Google for BoxABL. And this is the latest search volume for tiny homes on Google as well. Both of which, as you can tell, have exploded with interest.
Why?
Well, the tiny homes one makes sense. Everyone around the country and the globe wants affordable housing, but the current problems with tiny homes are pretty massive.
It's so big.
The first problem is transportation issues. Currently, if you want to ship a tiny home, you either have to ship it in sections and put it together at the site, or you have to ship them on giant 18-wheelers, and BoxABL plans to solve that with foldable modules. Problem number two is that most houses or tiny homes are still built by hand, while most products in America or even around the world are built on an assembly line. And BoxABL wants to do what Tesla did with electric cars. They want to do that with homes. On top of their tiny home plan, they also want to build the ability to Lego stack these tiny homes together and create a Lego-like structure for home building, which is probably the most exciting part for me when I look at this business model. Imagine getting a tiny home and thinking, it'd be cool to have a second one next door, or maybe even, hey, you know, it'd be nice, a living room. Let's put one of those in. Paying 20, 30, 40 grand and have a living room show up at your door and have it ready for you within a few days, just like an Amazon package. But of course, I'm a contrarian, and even though I really like this product and this idea, we have to talk about the downsides as well. And downside number one to consider before investing into this company is the fact that, like Tesla, because they're doing something new and revolutionary, by the time that they actually scale, it will take years and years and years, and the company will likely end up burning way more money like they have been. And if they keep burning money at that pace and their investors aren't so happy about that, they may run out of funding before they actually get the opportunity to scale. And even though they have 30-something patents underneath their belt, and that helps them be ahead of the competition, all it takes is one or two changes to their business plan or their blueprints for these houses from a very wealthy competitor, and if that competitor has enough money, they can just blow them out of the water in the long term. But maybe even with those downsides, you're still considering investing into this company. Is it worth it? This is where we talk about valuation, and that really depends. I looked through their SEC form and their K1, and I found some very interesting things that we got to talk about. So far, they've been very, very good at raising capital, and the year 2021 was actually a really big year for them with over $30 million raised. And during that time, they also were able to bring $1.9 million in reservation income and pre-orders as well. But because they're expanding and trying to scale this so quickly, their total operating expenses were around $8 million, and the cost of that revenue that they made was over $5 million. So their total gross loss was over $12 million for that same year. Plus, interest expenses as well on the debt owed to investors, for a grand total of over $13 million burned. And with only $21 million in cash, there's no doubt in my mind for why they're raising more and more capital every single year. Because based off of last year's numbers, they're burning at a rate which will only last them 2 to 3 years time. And just like Tesla, most of their expenses came from overpaying on labor and overpaying on the machinery. I don't know if you remember this, but Tesla had the exact same manufacturing issues before they scaled their Model 3 production. But this year, BoxABL did buy a secondary factory and even paid Porsche Consulting to help with the logistics of building an assembly line. So it will be really interesting to see what they'll be able to do in the next year or so. And in my opinion, it'll probably take them 5 to 10 years to actually scale the business, or to get to a place where they could be building one of these every 90 minutes. But if you look at the company, even though they're not making any money, they're already priced in at a valuation of around $3.5 to $4 billion. Again, this is for a company that brings in negative $13 million a year. And that's not so great if you ask me, but we are in a world where these new age concepts and companies are well overpriced for what they bring in. And honestly, once they start actually selling these homes, if they do, it will likely be too late to invest in terms of getting them at a fair value or even underpriced value, because the scalability of what they're doing will likely be priced in, just like it's been for Tesla for a while. So the question is, would I buy this company at 80 cents a share, what they're valued at right now? For me, maybe yes. For you, it might be different. It all depends on your risk tolerance and how long your investment horizon actually is. Being at such a high valuation early on for such a small company means they have a lot to prove in the next couple of years. But the reward, if they are able to accomplish what they're planning to accomplish, would be huge.
It's not just big, it's huge.
Now, of course, I'd love to hear what you guys think about this project or any other stocks that you're looking into. Leave them down in the comment section below, and I'd be more than happy to make a video on it if I think it's interesting enough for the community. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.